and welcome to VLSI for all. This is special video for every student who wants go to through the concept to question sessions and get a clarity on it because we have a teacher did this all. Today we have Mr. Suresh Vsr sir. He was a senior faculty at an academy and made easy, and now he has created his own institute in the name of Gate Pro. Thank you, sir, for giving your time, and it means a lot, sir.
Thanks, VLSI for all, and hello, viewers. I'm Suresh Vsr. Thanks for giving me a chance to speak with you people. So we'll speak a lot. We'll speak about VLSI and a lot of things. So thank you, students.
Sir, you are a man of experience and you know everything, almost everything about the professional life of the GATE aspirant and its opportunity and starting. And sir, we can start with this, sir. Sir, can we have your brief introduction so that the audience can match the frequency with you, sir?
I'm Suresh Vsr. I've been a teacher throughout my life. For 22 years, I knew nothing other than teaching and teaching and teaching. But in that, most of my success, most of my life was teaching for Made Easy Delhi, which is one of the best institutes for GATE coaching during the 2010 to 2020 era. So I was associated with Made Easy. I worked for 9 years to almost 10 years there. And I worked in electronics department there, teaching electromagnetics, considered to be the toughest subject. Then, of course, I shifted to an academy post-corona, and then I was there with an academy for some time. I was more popular in an academy because of the YouTube videos and all. Suddenly, it gave me a fame. Made Easy was my success. An academy gave me name and fame. Now, of course, totally took a retirement from that hectic lifestyle of online teaching. A lot of online hectic activity. So I took a total retirement and I've got my own institute called as Gate Pro. It's in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. We are, of course, going offline and online both and teaching for only electrical and electronics. So enjoying my retirement life with all my experience, happily living in Vizag.
Sir, you teach the electromagnetics, which is the toughest course for the electronics, and you make it easy for the GATE aspirants, sir. How you cope up with this and how you read the minds of the Indian students?
Electromagnetics is a completely mathematical oriented, three-dimensionally oriented subject. So teaching on a board is really tough. A three-dimensional presentation with hardcore mathematics using a two-dimensional board is not easy. So that's where the challenge always lies. Okay, how we express ourselves, how we convey that maths to the student is important. So throughout my career, I was struggling for the last 22 years. Literally struggling to deliver the content to students who have a 2D board and a 3D subject to handle. So obviously I was successful because I could do it very, very neatly and very simply in that manner. And major help comes in electromagnetics in the form of mathematics. If I can convey the mathematics properly and its physical meaning properly, what is del, what is integration, what is differentiation, my teaching was almost complete. I could deliver the goods that I wanted to give. So mathematics is the key to understand electromagnetics, and understanding mathematics physically is more important. I was successful in that thanks to the organizations or thanks to the students who always brought me to fame. So it's always the students and the organizations that made me great. Otherwise myself, I'm not really that great. So maths and my conveying skills, that's it.
So you are very quite humble about your success, sir. That's very nice and motivating experience for us, sir. Sir, we can start with the prepared PPT, sir. And sir, like I said in the starting, when you are a man of experience, sir. You know a lot about this, sir. You teach the electromagnetics, but you know what are the key demand areas of the job markets for circuit engineers or for the electronics engineers, sir. Can we start with this?
Yeah. Job market is very rapidly changing nowadays. You can't go to an industry and ask, I'm BTech in electronics, give me a job. Because BTech in electronics has nothing as an weightage, because there are a lot of people coming out. So what it demands is a core specialization beyond BTech in electronics, or just broadly saying you from electronics. So what are the core areas? What are the specialization areas that you need? There's surely a cutting edge technology called as VLSI. Because you won't have discrete components, BJTs and transistors, and then you work on those BJTs and transistors. It's chip level manufacturing, chip level design, and everything goes with chip. System on a chip is what it is now. So VLSI is one of the hottest area now. One of the hottest for electronics, that even electrical students who are supposed to be learning power electronics and power systems, they come and do MTechs in VLSI. I did even find some students getting tempted to do VLSI even from mechanical and civil, though they are not eligible. That's the demand for VLSI. Then closely followed by IoT, considered to be something for computer science students, but connected totally to electronics. Internet of Things, because Internet of PCs is gone now. It's Internet of Things and Internet of camera, Internet of Internet of wireless systems, Internet of control systems. So IoT is the next most hottest area, followed by robotics, wherein mechanical, computer science, and even electronic students can join. Robotics, again, of course, remember, is not just hardware. It's all about software, hardware, both. So obviously, it's in huge demand. 3D molding, 3D printing is aiding robotics. Then followed by industrial automation. Remember, purely for electrical students, electronic students, and instrumentation students. Though mechanical students can share it, though computer science students have to program it, it's still the core. So industrial automation, especially softwares like SCADA, PLC automation, is picking up so fast. So industrial automation is one hot area for electronics or electrical or circuit branch students. That's where you can see how advanced industrial automation is becoming. Everything is getting mechanized. Mechanized not through mechanical gears and pulleys, mechanized in the form of industrial automation. Then, of course, aviation industry, avionics, electronics of aviation. Believe me, nobody in India has got any flavor for understanding aviation. That's one of the reasons why we have very few companies which are into core aviation, like Airbus and all. They belong to France. But believe me, this is one hot area for circuit branch students. The future belongs to aviation, rocket science, flying and flying and flying. So these are some of the areas which I thought are very critical for circuit branches. If you talk about core electrical now, the hardcore high power engineers, it's electric vehicles. So keeping these many things into view, I'm sure that you understand electric vehicles or avionics or industrial automation, or if you look at robotics, or if you look at IoT, what is common among all of this? What is a common thing? They all need a chip. They all need a circuit. They all need a very high speed processor. That's VLSI. So I feel these are the areas which I hope circuit branch students should focus on.
Sir, the next question also linked with your high demand, like the chip industry, sir. What is the major area for the VLSI industry? Like, I mean, VLSI is very huge, sir. And you are, since you have many experience, sir, you know that there's a front end, back end, everything is related, but sometimes it needs a high level of knowledge, sir. So can we start with what are the major areas?
Yeah, broadly, VLSI, people understand it only as the front end or the design part of it. Using softwares and using the programming techniques, they try to design a system on a chip. But you should understand that VLSI industry is broad, that has got three major portions in it. The design of the chip, then comes a fabrication of the chip, which most of us in India don't do, or most of the VLSI people don't do. The chip fabrication, because we don't have seriously any fabrication plant in India. Fabrication is totally patented by China and Taiwan and partly in US. And the third is applying these VLSI systems for their own requirements. So VLSI is broadly about three areas: the design part, which most of us learn, the fab part, the fabrication part, which India is still lagging behind, and the application part, where is using those chips and designing something else. Like I've got with me, lakhs and lakhs of NAND technology chips. I've got to use it for some application. So people using these VLSI are different, fabricating are different, designing people are different. So what do these design people do? Basically, they sit on a PC, they look like a software engineer, and all they do is take out some tools like Cadence, or take out some EDA tools called as electronic design automation, and they just look like a software engineer, and then keep on selecting, pulling, dragging menus, and assembling circuits, assembling blocks, memory unit.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. They just look like a software engineer. That's what is the design part. So they generally use the dialings. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you you could be placed anywhere here in Synopsys or Xilinx or Cadence.
Yes, sir.
You seem to be a software engineer, that's all, because you'll be writing a code for all these things. So design engineers basically are into the front end of designing the chip, assembling the circuit. Then comes the fabrication engineers, the material science experts, the chip experts. Wherein India is still lagging, but I'm sure next 5 years, India is going to get ready for mass production of semiconductor chips. It's a dream since the last 15 years, which is not being fulfilled. In spite of a fabrication unit or fabrication plant being set up in Chandigarh, being set up in Hyderabad, we are still lagging in mass production of semiconductor chips. The moment we take over this chip fabrication seriously, we have a complete domination of the electronics market. Because we are almost dominating, no doubt, the design market for the next 10 years, maybe we'll surely, but chip fabrication is still far away. I'm sure we'll dominate it. So these are the companies in India which are actually involved into it. Sankhya Labs, Tata LXI, ASM Technologies, Auron SCL. These are the companies which are actually seriously thinking into chip manufacturing. In the sense, they finally bring out the chip. You may do something on the system and computer, but that's all virtual, right?
Yes, sir.
The final, hard copy has to come out. Okay. You may do any software on the system, but the hard copy has to come out. That's what is the chip is.
Yes, sir.
These are the companies genuinely focused on it. Believe me, these people have to take India in the next 10 years.
Yes, sir.
Look at world level, there are quite a few companies. The TSMC being the pioneer, shares nearly 60% of the market. So now, of course, it's in the third position. The Taiwan Semiconductor Company, TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductors, Samsung and Intel, they produce the highest number of chips. They fabricate the highest number of chips. In fact, Samsung, most of us know it for consumer electronics.
Yes, sir.
But it's actually a very small wing.
Okay, sir.
It's a very small wing. They are majorly into chip fabrication. So these are the companies which, genuinely they are into. In fact, the first chip has been come out from TI, Texas Instruments.
Yes.
But they are nowhere in the top 5 now. So these people are into chip fabrication. Then comes, of course, application. Using those chips. Who all apply this? The computer industry applies. Robotics applies it.
Consumers.
Anybody who's into electronics will apply these VLSI chips. Because nobody is going to take a PCB, solder it, put a BJT on it, take a breadboard, connect it like your BTech studies.
That would be very hectic, sir.
Hectic, and it's outdated.
Yes, sir.
It's like going from Vizag to Delhi in a bullock cart when we have a flight as an alternate. So the world has changed so rapidly that we are no more into that BJTs and pulling up diodes and transistors and connecting them. We are at chip level where there are lakhs and millions of options at higher speeds. So who applies all these things? The application market is busy with computer motherboards, memory units, communication units, mobiles. All of them belong to the application market. Intel is, of course, into motherboards. That's why they're into chip fabrication. Samsung is into mobiles and consumer electronics. That's why they're into chip market. So everybody in the chip market, except TSMC, they're also into the application market. They fabricate their chips because they need it for their applications. Except TSMC. TSMC is not completely into application. They're only into fabrication units. So mobiles, home appliances, all of them belong to the application market. And these are the major consumers of VLSI. Qualcomm, Broadcom, Intel, Micron. So this is the broad spread of VLSI. So VLSI can be broadly classified into design, fabrication, and application. Design somebody does, fabrication somebody else does. I design it, fabrication goes in China. Sometimes I dump it on FPGA, I dump it on an ASIC. Yes, but the dumping on the ASIC or FPGA is not fabricated in India. That FPGA again ultimately comes from China itself. The fabrication is ultimately from China or from Taiwan itself.
That's the reason that India needs to be set up its own plant, like because of security.
Absolutely. We're waiting. In fact, we've been waiting for the last 15 years.
Yes, sir. Now things are changing, sir, and we are going towards Achhe Din.
They have invited proposals for setting up these fabrication plants. Government of India has already invited proposals 2 years back,
Yeah.
and very short we'll see a revolution in fabrication,
Hmm.
not
I
only in
think
design.
I think there's a tie-up between the Gujarat for setting up the first chip factory, Gujarat or Karnataka.
Exactly,
Sir, can
exactly.
we the
Right.
awareness? Yes, sir, sure.
In fact, if the focus would have been on Chandigarh or on
Yes, sir.
Hyderabad, where already there are some few steps taken, it
Yes,
should have been much better.
yes,
But
sir.
yes, there are a lot of steps coming forward.
They already, sir, there SCL like semiconductor lab for in
Exactly,
Chandigarh for the for the ISRO, sir. Sir,
exactly.
we can go with what is the future for VLSI in India, sir? Like you already stated that, but this is the formal like
Yeah,
you like to say
yeah.
something about this, sir?
Yeah, future of VLS in India is very simple. Let me just tell you the India or the world. I'll talk in terms of market. Do you think the world is going against electronics or is it going in favor of electronics?
Sir, everything is going to our favors of electronics. We are
Favor of
consumers.
electronics only.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Whether it's an electronic home appliance or whether it is an rocket or whether it is a vehicle, most electronic students feel that electronics has no future. They feel that coding, computer science, artificial intelligence. Come on, where will you implement that artificial intelligence? On a chip. Software and coding is the invisible part. The visible part is a chip. Without the body, what will the soul do? Software is a soul. Body is the hardware. So India has a bright future for VLSI because a lot of applications are coming wherein they need chips. So if you watch out the market in terms of value, US market is valued at $430 billion. 430. Just remember the number 430. The Indian
That's
market is just around roughly around 17 billion. Compare the 430 and look at the Indian 17.
very
See the
high, sir.
potential of growth.
Yes, sir.
It's really. And look at the potential of growth now. Look at the growth market of US. It's only 8.8% growth rate. CAGR means growth rate. GR means growth rate. So the market is growing at 8.8, which means by another 7 years, maybe in 2029, it will double. The market will become double in another 7 or 8 years. But if you look at the Indian market, whose growth rate is 27%, that means Indian market is surely going to double within just 3 years, hardly, or maybe 4 years. That's where the Indian market is very competitive,
There's a high
very
potential for
rapidly
us.
growing. Lot of potential. Whatever you want to implement, you got to ultimately implement with the chip. And that market is growing, obviously. Because every modern technology that you talk of needs an IC or chip.
Yes, sir.
IoT, robotics, everything is boosting the integration of, it's boosting the VLS industry. Moreover, IoT and robotics and artificial intelligence are becoming almost the same. A car is becoming smart. A phone has already become smart. Home automation is becoming smart. Everything needs a chip. So future is bright. Absolutely bright.
Okay, sir. Sir, now we coming to the reality of the students. Like the aspirants wants to go into the industry, sir. Sir, and what is our procedure like? Like what they have to do on the ground basis? Like in terms of dialogue, I asked you, sir. You tell about the behavior description.
Yeah.
Now, if we talk about the structural or the physical design, so what are the key steps that need to be taken for by the students so to get into
See,
the industry?
students will always have this doubt, how do we enter into this industry? One of the easiest ways of entering into this industry is having a proper qualification in terms of an MTech or an MS through GATE, which is giving you a foundation for your life. So have an MTech or MS, preferably from IITs and NITs, where there are projects happening. Don't do your MTech from a formal college where, just go home and go there and come back in the evening. Your college should be having some sort of a projects happening. That's where IITs are always superior. The design, the R&D that happens is awesome. So go for GATE, go for your MTech. That's one of the easiest channels with competition at the minimum for GATE now. I think GATE is now where everybody's availability. because from 1 lakh students, the number of people writing GATE has come down to 50,000.
Yes, sir.
And this year in electronics, I'm expecting only 40,000 or 30,000 students to write it, which is half that of 2 years back. And remember, number of vacancies are not being reduced. So you have a very good chance of, entering into IITs. So go for that.
Yes, sir.
The other way is going for some internship.
Yes,
Absolutely. Going for internships, go for some industries, go for some, private PG diploma courses. Very short, easy method of 6 months. You don't need 1 year of coaching, 2 years of MTech. I call them as fast track career courses. So go for a fast track career course in PG diploma course in VLSI. It will surely boost your skills and placement assistance will be there. That's going to be really helpful. And another, let me just tell you good news is many colleges are coming with BTech with VLSI specialization, of which IIIT Delhi is the first to do it. Of course, private universities have done it, no doubt. So IIIT Delhi is coming with BTech in electronics with VLSI specialization, just like computer science now. Computer science specializations have come up, AML, data sciences.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly what's going to happen with electronics also, which is a very great boost to it. So even VIT AP, my own state, Andhra Pradesh, where, hardly 400 kilometers from here, we got this VIT AP. We got BTech EC with specialization in VLSI. So these are all the things, students, that really give a boost for, these are all the things that give a boost for VLSI and its importance. So I just wanted to speak about VLSI because my love for electronics will never die out. And VLSI is the latest, huge, hottest thing in electronics now. So just wanted to speak about it.
Sir. Sir, like I said, you are a man of experience, sir, and this